The idea of social justice was first introduced in the ancient Greek play Orestia. In the third act, after Orestes kills his mother as revenge for the killing of his father, the Furies make him their lawful prey. The Furies then chase him to Athens, where the Athenians intervene and want to acquit Orestes for his crimes. Because of their differing opinions, they were forced to work out a compromise and tried Orestes in court. When both parties had made their cases, the jury voted but was split evenly. In the end, the tiebreaker vote was given to Athena, who voted to acquit Orestes of his crime. Her decision makes the Furies very upset, and in order to appease them, Athena changed their titles from the Furies to Semini, which means venerable ones, or highly respected. They then become the bringers of prosperity to Athens. In this situation, Orestes' decision to kill his mother to avenge his father is a matter of personal justice. However, the Furies are against this act and all other unjust murders, so they declare Orestes as their lawful prey and attempt to hunt him down as their own form of personal justice. The Athenians and Athena represent the idea of social justice, and they use the trial to reach an agreement on a just punishment. The reason social justice is needed is because there are two different forms of personal justice at work in the community. Because of this, no matter who was sided with at the end of the trial, one party would be unhappy, which brings the idea of compromise into justice, as well as the idea that justice must not only be done, but must appear to be done to the public. In this case, it may have been just to merely acquit Orestes of his crime, but in order to keep the society functioning, Athena had to appease the Furies as well.
An event similar to Orestes in the modern day would be the Rodney King riots throughout LA in 1992. The events began when Rodney King was traveling down the interstate at over 100 miles an hour while being intoxicated and was attempted to be pulled over by an officer. However, Rodney King, knowing he would be in violation of his patrol, continued to flee. Eventually, after leading the officer on a high-speed chase, he pulled over after seeing a police helicopter in his path. Once out of the car, King was beaten by officers, and a video of the beating was later released to the local news. Because of the video, the officers were indicted on charges of assault and use of excessive force. However, because of the media saturation of the trial was moved to nearby Simi Valley, a city with a largely white demographic. At the conclusion of the trial, all 4 of the officers were acquitted of the charge of assault, and 3 out of the 4 were acquitted of the charge of use of excessive force. These acquittals triggered a large series of riots throughout LA that caused over $1 million in damages, 12,000 arrests, and over 50 dead. The cause of the riots was the conflict between the protesters' idea of personal justice and the state's idea of civil justice. However, when one is part of a nation, they must give up their right to personal justice in exchange for civil justice and the goods and services provided by that nation. However, in this case, the federal government saw that justice did not appear to be done and re-indicted the officers under the federal system. In this case, 2 out of the 4 officers were convicted and the other 2 acquitted. However, it led to the perception that justice had been done.
Brown Jr. and Dorian Johnson robbed the store for cigars and went on their way. Darren Wilson, a Ferguson police officer, was responding to a call about the robbery when he noticed the 2 boys walking in the middle of the street and decided to approach them. He had no idea they were the ones who committed the robbery, only that the suspects were somewhere in the area. He asked them several times to get out of the street, and each time Brown replied with, "You can't tell me what to do," or "What are you gonna do about it?" Eventually, he got out of his car, which when Brown started throwing punches. Wilson went back to his car to get his mace or his baton, but he was unable to reach both of them. He did, however, manage to reach his gun and asked Brown to halt and put his hands up. After Brown kept coming at him, Wilson feared for his life and shot the unarmed teenager twice in the chest. Although personal justice was completed when Wilson shot Brown after fearing for his life, society viewed it as Wilson ignoring social justice and doing what he felt was right for himself, instead of doing what was right for society.
There will always be conflicts between personal justice and civil justice. However, for a society to function correctly, one must sacrifice their views on personal justice, accept those on civil justice.